Today we are looking at something very special. In fact, we're looking at 3 very special prototypes that are part of the G5 prototype series as I research and develop the new materials to create the newest, lightest, high efficiency trumpets. And today's trumpets are really, in my mind, extremely special. Maybe some of the most difficult and interesting trumpets I've ever built because of the materials. The first prototype we're looking at is going to have nylon bracing, which, as far as I know, has never been done. And the same with the other 2. We've got 2 brand new horns featuring things that have never been done in the history of mankind, as far as I know. And for sure, the first time we've ever done this at Harrelson. So the second prototype features a laser-sintered aluminum tuning slide. Laser-sintered means it was 3D printed from powder using a fiber laser. It's extremely accurate. It's extremely different, but also very, very light. And it's our high efficiency tuning slide. And then the third one features a high efficiency laser-sintered tuning slide from titanium. So we have 3 firsts. I'll say this right now. I will be offering these trumpets at very, very low prices to get them in your hands and start getting feedback from you with the guarantee that you can always trade them in towards a new horn in the future. So let's get started. The first one we have is the nylon braced trumpet. And this is marked prototype number 5. So we've got 5, 6, and 7 here. Let's get a close-up shot. And this one has green deep acrylic inlays. You can see on the top bracing, we have a black resin that fills some nylon braces. And here you can see where the nylon is attached. On the back side here, we can see it says first nylon bracing, plus the first aluminum tuning slide, built by Jason Harrelson, Denver, Colorado, USA, Lead Pipe 1, Bell 1 XLT, February 5th, 2025. This one features our lightweight grooves bottom caps, which are limited edition, and the matching top caps. It has our lightest weight finger rings, which are cylindrical contour, and it has the Saturn water keys, and it still has the high efficiency lead pipe and the VGR system, the Venturi gap receiver. A lot of features in this horn. The tuning slide is aluminum. So this tuning slide is 100% aluminum that was laser sintered, meaning we printed this on a powder bed with a fiber laser, and it's a complicated process, but it came out perfect. And yeah, let's play this horn. I'm super excited. I've only played it once because I wanted to save that for the video. Wow, that's much more responsive than I would have expected, considering this aluminum tuning slide. Now, I haven't done all the studies on aluminum tuning slides yet. I have several more that I'll be working with. But I do know that with the Style R SWE tuning slide, there is almost no energy loss, even in aluminum, which is really kind of crazy. It still has the machined lead pipe in brass, which also improves efficiency quite a bit. And in fact, that's the only reason this trumpet isn't super lightweight. It's actually very light compared to most Summits. And it's probably around the same weight as a Bach if you put maybe some caps on it. So I want to show a couple of features on this horn, but first let's weigh the instrument. Let me move the camera over so you can see me weigh it. And it looks like it's on ounces. Okay, let's get right up there. Okay, so it's 39.89 ounces. So we can say, really, it's 40 ounces. All right, so we'll call it 40 ounces. Well, 2 pounds is 32 ounces. So we're looking at a trumpet that is, what, 2 pounds and 8 ounces. So not very heavy, 2.5 pounds. That is well within the range of a standard trumpet. I think the lightest trumpets that we've really measured over the years don't hit 2 pounds. They're always above that, typically 2 pounds, 3 or 4 ounces. So this is only a few ounces heavier. I failed to mention that it also has the Delrin valve stems and Delrin bases to the finger buttons. That lightens it up. And I also did the nylon bracing on the bottom. So we have nylon bracing here and here. And each of those braces weighed like a gram or two. Very, very light. Okay, let me turn this off. So the nylon bracing is actually also laser sintered out of nylon rather than printing it out of steel or titanium or aluminum. These are out of nylon. And this is what the nylon brace looks like. I'll measure the brace real quick. I'll do that off camera here, but I'll just tell you what it comes out to be, just so that you have an idea of how light these components are. Okay, that is 0.14 ounces, or in grams, it's 4 grams. So that's obviously very light. That is for the main brace. So the 2 main braces would be 8 grams. I filled them with a resin. Now, the way I attached everything was the really hard part, and that's one of the biggest parts of this experiment. The nylon bracing will most likely become the bravura trumpet down the road. So we're going to reissue the bravura, and we want to find ways to use nylon because it's so super strong. That's what we use for our pocket valves, for the production for that. And we also use nylon for fixtures and jigs and even vice jaws in the shop. So it's extremely strong, very durable, and it's also extremely lightweight. I filled that hollow space that you see in here with resin just because I wanted to strengthen it more. I had never intended to use these braces on a trumpet. They were printed primarily just to test fit, and the reason I left them hollow was to save weight and money when I had them printed. But I do make the exact same brace out of steel, and we've had stainless steel trumpets that we've done prototypes of in 2024 that did use this steel, and it was silver soldered to the horn, and it didn't need a fill because it's so strong. These are extremely lightweight, so I can bend this very, very easily because there's almost no material there. If we made it solid, it would weigh a little more and it would be extremely strong, and that's what will become the Bravura series. And when we do that, we will most likely have the brace wrap all the way around the tuning slide, maybe around the bell, so it has a very secure attachment, and maybe even create a full hand grip as an entire assembly. So this is the prototype leading towards the new Bravura series, even though it is also testing the G5, because we're testing the tuning slide and these bottom braces, which will be part of the G5. It's also working towards the Bravura series. So I did put a VGR insert in here, and it was the one I've been using in my practice sessions. I've actually practiced for a full week, which is the most I have practiced in a row in a long time, maybe 15 years, simply because of all my health challenges over the years. I really couldn't do that without having massive headaches or even having to lay down for a day or two from playing. So yeah, I've been working on the Charlier, and I've just been working on number 1 for the last week, and I'm really excited to play some of that on each of these trumpets. But let me play a couple other little things on this horn. And wow, these valves are so incredibly responsive and light because they have those stems that are Delrin. Yeah, it really, really rings. I should mention the lead pipe and bell are, again, the 1 XLT. So this bell is our standard size bell, but it's larger at the end, and it's a lightweight, which makes it both bigger and more easy on your ears, but at the same time brighter because of the lightweightness and the bigger bell diameter. So this is prototype number 5. This one will go down in history as the first trumpet to ever have the nylon bracing. Let me talk just a minute about how I attached the bracing. I contacted some research labs at 3M and another company to discuss how to attach brass to nylon. Now, nylon is particularly difficult to to find an adhesive that will stick to it, especially if it's been laser sintered. And that's because when you laser sinter it, it actually leaves like this film of nylon, almost like dust. So we have to kind of scrape it all off and sand it to get it down to where it's just a solid piece, because that outer edge still has some of the residue from the powder on it. And then for some reason, nylon is one of those materials, one of those plastics that requires very special adhesives. So we tested 3 different types of adhesive on this trumpet. Now I'll say this, if you purchase this trumpet, you get a couple things. First, you get one of the lightest, most advanced prototype trumpets that is really exploring new materials. The second thing you get is a guarantee from me that if anything goes wrong with this trumpet, I'll take it back and build you a new trumpet. You can have full credit towards a custom build. So let's say you bought this trumpet for $3,000. I would give you that $3,000 credit towards another build. And if you want a $3,000 trumpet, if that's your budget, it wouldn't be the same as this. It would be, it wouldn't have all the same components, because this is really a $10,000 trumpet. But I'm just throwing those numbers out there to let you know, whatever you pay, we'll give you that credit if you send it back for some reason. Now, because it is attached with these special adhesives that I've been told should last for a very long time, and it's all experimental, I'll say this. I cannot guarantee that you couldn't just rip this tuning slide or lead pipe or bell right off the horn. Now, like a fine violin or a clarinet, I know I could rip those apart very easily with very little force. I used to play violin and clarinet, and I would even have students who laid their clarinets on their lap, and if they had wooden ones, they'd crack them or even break them in half. So it is a fine instrument. You need to treat this with respect and care. But if you grab it from this section, pushing inwards, then you're not putting extra force on those braces. If you grab it here and you start to bend things, it could flex a little bit and you could break it off. We actually tested breaking the lead pipe and bell off of the braces, and it was possible. So I'm telling you right now, if you decide to go down the route of owning the very first nylon trumpet, I want you to know, first, you need to care for it. Secondly, if something goes wrong, if it does break, I'll take it back and build you another horn and give you that full credit. So you don't have anything to lose, but what I really need is your feedback so I know how it performs in your hands, not in mine. And I'll be testing it for the rest of, for as long as I have it, the next day or two, until it ships out to whoever purchases it. So if you want to buy it, call me at 303-657-2747. It may or may not even make it to our website, I don't know, or you can email me. But either way, I just really need to get it out of my hands and hear from other people. So, yeah. And the adhesives that are holding it together technically could last for years. They could even last a lifetime or more. I don't actually know, because no one has really done this before. Now, like I said, you could abuse it and break it the first day, or it might last a lifetime. It's all in the way you treat it. The other thing I'll say is, I know with these adhesives, they can be tricky to deal with if you get them in extreme heat or cold. So I would not allow this trumpet to freeze. So if you can prevent that, that's a good thing. When we ship it to you, what we most likely do is ship it to you express, or you can come here and pick it up, just so it doesn't get on a truck that's going across the country and freezes. Because while there is a working range of temperature on this adhesive, and I think it's probably like almost 200 degrees and then below freezing, we just don't want to subject it to that. From my experience, working with 3M Labs, they used to send me adhesives to work with just brass on brass. We found that the more extreme temperatures, the more likely they have problems. So if you treat this well, and you treat it like a fine violin, it's really probably going to last a long time. But it is the first aluminum tuning slide, it's the first nylon bracing, and it plays really well. So let me move on to the next one. This is prototype number 6, and I'll hold it up to the camera. And number 6, of course, they're all engraved right up here. It says hybrid stainless steel, and G5, that's the G5 prototype. This one was built, it says first stainless steel solderless assembly, built by Jason Harrelson, Denver, Colorado, USA. Lead pipe 1, Bell 3R, February 6th, 2025. It has different bottom caps, also lightweight, and it has our laser sintered stainless steel bracing in the honeycomb style, and the stainless steel tuning slide, the top bracing, and in the very top we have the smoke colored deep acrylic. This is a really classy, good looking trumpet, really beautiful. It turned out amazing. I have not even played it. I saved the play test for this video shoot, and there's no insert in it because I haven't played it yet, so I'll put one in there in a second. But this trumpet, like the other one, is experimenting with very specific adhesives to connect brass to stainless steel. Different adhesives than the one you saw before. For that reason, it is a prototype that has all the exact same warnings and the exact same benefits that I just mentioned with number 5. Number 6 is just more robust. It has more surface area, stronger bracing. It weighs more, and we'll weigh it here in a second, but it has a very special type of adhesive that we are testing. And again, I don't want you to freeze it, and I don't want you to put it in the oven, right? So, and don't even put it in a hot car in the sunlight. If you have to leave it in a car, put it in the trunk where it can't get too hot. Because, you know, the insides of cars can get, you know, to hundreds of degrees, and we don't want to subject it to that. Again, you want to grab it from here if you're going to grab it that way at all. Preferably just hold it from the valve set and nowhere else. And everything else about it is just normal. The water key on the stainless steel tuning slide also tests that adhesive. So that is connected the exact same way. We've tested it here in-house, and we have a good idea of how durable it is. But these tests will lead to new things that are coming in other instruments, but partially in the G5. Now, the bracing is the exact same bracing style that you saw a minute ago, except in stainless steel. So we, again, used a fiber laser and a powder bed to build these stainless steel braces on a different machine than the ones we did the nylon with. So even though they're the same brace and the same style, they're printed on very different machines that use the same techniques. And what else do I have to say about this? It's, like I said, it's a lead pipe 1, bell 3R. 3R is going to be bigger and warmer, and it won't have that as much of a sizzle. So let me switch out the VGR from the other trumpet. Let me get that one out, because I want to keep the same one the whole time. And I'll show you how I put that on camera here. So I just have the VGR receiver off. I just snap that on, and then I put the receiver back on, and the receiver's right here. And that's it. So, except I got it upside down because it's got double start threads. Let me flip it around. There we go. Okay, so I'll put my mouthpiece in. We'll play the same piece, since at this point, that's the only piece I've practiced in many years. It feels really good. It's very solid. It is by far more stable in terms of the stability of each note than number 5. And I would attribute that to just the more robust nature of the design. Because it is stainless steel and the tuning slide stainless steel, we're going to feel that. Plus the 3R bell is a more stable bell. Both of these have Saturn water keys, and actually number 7 does too. Again, I'll be offering the same deal where I'm going to discount this a lot, basically just give it to you at a really good price to get your feedback. And like I said, the same warranties apply. If something went wrong, then we'll just take it back. I'll probably, if anything ever happens to these 3 horns and I get them back, I'll probably keep them at home in my studio and play them. But I need your feedback for that period of time, so I know what you like and dislike about these, and so I know if there are any weaknesses that we need to address. But again, this one will cost more than the other one, because I know for a fact that this one is a better build in terms of the materials, and I know I trust this adhesive more than the other, so this will be maybe the more expensive one of the three. But at the same time, it's going to be an amazing price for you to get into a Harrelson, and you can always trade up to anything you like. This does have the aluminum valve stems, and that added a little bit of weight. I'm going to take my mouthpiece out, and we'll weigh this one on camera again. Let me get this set up. I already did the tear with this on there. And this one is, nope, we're in kilograms. Okay, this one is 2 pounds, 15.8 ounces, so almost, well, really 3 pounds. So that one is, really, if we just barely tipped it, it would be 3 pounds. And I'll weigh the brace by itself again. So I know we measured the other one as 4 grams. Let's see what this one is. The brace by itself is 1.2 ounces, or in grams, that is 34 grams. So 30 grams more than the nylon, which doesn't really surprise me. There's a huge difference between the two. And of course, that's why this trumpet is going to be more stable, because the antinodes can't set the tubing into vibration as easily. And that's standing wave efficiency, which is really one of the main pillars of our research at Harrelson, is understanding how to make a trumpet more efficient and get more resonance at the bell, which we do, and you can hear it on this one. Let me play a little more on this one, and then we'll move on to number 7. Wow, it's so easy to play. So I've been playing on a G4. I've been playing on the first 2 G4 trumpets, which are my personal trumpets. And I've been practicing this in a different room, so it sounds different. But those trumpets, one has the 1X bell, which I've been playing on quite a bit, and a bigger lead pipe. And while I've been able to play this just fine and it feels good, this feels a lot better and it feels more stable. This bracing system clearly is more efficient, and it's obvious to me. Yeah, that feels nice. I feel like I can play very soft and very loud. Okay, so there you have it. That's prototype number 6. The first stainless steel solderless assembly. Solderless meaning we did use those special adhesives, and this adhesive came from a different company. It wasn't, I'm trying a lot of different things. It came from a different lab, and it was used on these braces on the bottom as well. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4 braces that did use the solderless assembly. There's a tiny bit of solder on this horn. We did solder this section, and we soldered this joint here. And then, of course, the finger rings were soldered. But in this one water key, the other water key was put on with this special new type of adhesive. All right, let's put that one down and move on. Now, this one is probably the one I'm the most proud of, and that's simply because, I should say it's prototype number 7. That's because titanium has really been out of reach for me in terms of a material I can use for tuning slides or lead pipes or bracing. And that's because when we were machining every single part and not moving into laser sintering and casting, we had a very nice set of machines, but we had a vertical milling machine that could mill titanium. And the issue was that we would use so much money in cutters, and then getting the surface finish to where we wanted it was nearly impossible. It just took so many man hours. So the time it took and the cost to make a brass tuning slide was, typically 8 or 10 hours to make one tuning slide out of brass. If we were to do it in titanium, then it would take more than 3 times that time to make the entire tuning slide and get it finished the same as the brass. And the cost of cutters was something like 20 times more expensive. So the price of a titanium tuning slide was always out of reach for our customers. We didn't even offer it because it just didn't become something we could allow to go out the door. It was too expensive. This one, because it was laser sintered, 3D printed out of metal. Same thing out of the powder bed. It's just powder in a bed, and the bed just gradually lowers after every pass, and I swipe more powder over top, and the fiber laser just sinters it to the previous layer, and it printed this tuning slide, and the tuning slide is just crazy, crazy light. And before we end this video, I'll weigh all 3 tuning slides so you can see the differences. And the cool thing about our horns is they're built to such tight tolerances. I can test all 3 of these tuning slides, the aluminum, the stainless, and the titanium, on all 3 horns. So technically I can mix and match them anytime I want until you buy them. So this one, again, you want to hold this way if you have to pick it up this way at all. Otherwise, grab it from the valve set. And it does have our lightest finger rings, the contour again. It has one of our lighter sets of top and bottom caps. They're not the lightest, but they are lighter. And it has the Delrin valve stems and the bases to the finger buttons. This one does have the black onyx colored deep acrylic. It's not actual stone. It's an acrylic that looks really awesome. And the water keys are the Saturn again. On the bottom side, I put extra lightweight laser sintered stainless steel braces because I don't have any in titanium. So titanium tuning slide, steel down here, and the lightest steel braces we have on the top, which are from our H series from years ago. This was inspired by the H series, and they're extremely light, and I brought one of those over so we could weigh that as well. And let's get going on this one. Let me show you close up on the camera. I did put my signature on this one. So the receiver does have my actual signature in it. I think it'll show up. And here you can see it says Prototype 7 and Hybrid Titanium. Down here, the same G5 Harrelson that we put on all of these prototypes. Over here, solderless bracing plus the first titanium tuning slide. So it's right on the first valve. This is the first titanium tuning slide, especially sweet tuning slide, SWE tuning slide ever made. And down here, built by me again, Lead Pipe 1, Bell 1LT, February 7th, 2025. You may be wondering, how did I build all 3 of these within 3 days? I didn't. I did the final assembly on all 3 of them within 3 days. So getting all of the special kinds of adhesives mixed and put together and prepped, and that final assembly of the little bit of soldering that I did, that took a whole day. So there's a lot of time and effort and frustration that I've overcome in building these 3 prototypes. In fact, I thought that we could have done this maybe 2 or 3 times faster than we did. The good news is they all came out great, and this one is really, really feels maybe possibly the lightest of the 3. And that may be partially because the braces aren't that heavy, especially compared to the stainless steel one that I just showed you. And, you know, we are going to be, and also because of the tuning slide, you know, being titanium, we are going to be lightening all of these horns as we approach the release of the G5, because we will be introducing the lattice structure into the lead pipe. So we will most likely laser sinter most of the lead pipe. And then these weights that we're seeing are probably going to continue to drop because the lead pipe is actually the heaviest part of all 3 of these instruments. So yeah, this one is lighter than I think maybe the other 2. So let's set it down here and weigh it and find out what it comes out to be. Okay. Oh, I'm in grams again. Let's get to ounces. Okay. This one is 2 pounds, 9.2 ounces, which is fairly light. That's really just 1 ounce over the nylon bracing, which is kind of insane when you think about it, because the nylon trumpet, I'll hold it up here, that one has the aluminum tuning slide and nylon braces, and this one is titanium, which weighs more than aluminum, and it also has the stainless steel braces, which weigh more as well. Somehow I got the weight shaved down from this one. That tells me right away we could probably get this just by changing the caps, maybe down to 2 pounds 6 ounces, and this one could probably go even 2 pounds 7 most likely. Now before I forget, let's weigh this little brace and see what that comes out to be. That one is 0.7 ounces, or 22 grams. So it's right in the middle. I think we had 34 for the steel and 4 for the nylon, and this one's right in the middle of the two. So that is a fairly low weight brace as well. Excuse me. Again, it is attached with the special adhesives, so you do want to be cautious of that. I will be selecting someone to test this prototype and own it. And again, like I said, if you treat it with care, I would not be surprised if this trumpet lasts 30, 40, 50 years, maybe longer, if you just care for it properly. And what that means is just handle it with care and don't ever put any extra stress between here and here, because that creates a lever action which could break some part of the instrument. Most likely the adhesive connection would break. But like I said, the other parts are soldered, and I haven't played this one yet. So let me put the VGR insert in there. I'm going to keep the same one. Let me get that in there and we'll play it. All right, we'll put that on. And this insert is a 346 number 8, so it's actually fairly large. You know, a 342 or a 344 would be much easier to play something like etudes, but this will give it a bigger sound. Oh, I'm out of air. Well, I just want to keep playing it. It feels actually really light in my hands, just like number 5. And number 6 wasn't that heavy, but what? Number 6 was around 8 ounces heavier. You can feel the difference. Let me just keep playing for a minute. There's a big breath mark right there. It's an interesting spot for it. Such a fun piece. All right, so this is number 7. I don't know which one to say I like the best. It probably is this one. I would say this one probably has the most value, simply because titanium has been out of reach for so long, and it's so expensive to make these even the way it is right now. But also, it's got the lighter feel. Like, it feels to me, because I normally play a trumpet that's around 3 pounds or 3 pounds 4 ounces. I have a few different trumpets that are in that range. And I've been playing the G4 or the first 2 G4 trumpets, and those weigh under 3 pounds. But this literally just feels so much lighter for some reason, even though it's only 8 ounces lighter. But it has a projection, it has the sound. It really feels like I'm moving in the right direction of a great balance. And I'd love to hear your feedback when you play this and you own it and you tell me what you're experiencing. So again, this does have lead pipe 1, bell 1 LT. That 1 LT could lighten up and brighten up very easily. I'll push it in the upper register a little bit so we can hear that, but it actually works perfect for the Charlier. Let me finish this. That is really cool. I don't know if I had said this before, but it's the first time I've ever played it. Christine's been cleaning these up for a week. We've been very careful trying to do that because it's all new techniques. And we have to change the way we clean them up as well. And I saved playing all three of these for today, which is Friday the, whatever, what day is it? The 21st maybe of February. But man, I just have to say, this feels really, really good. All three of them feel good. This is by far my favorite. And I guess it really depends on what you're doing with them, right? Like, so you should kind of choose one based on the bell. This is a 1LT. It kind of works for everything. It gets that vibrancy. It might be even too vibrant for the way I just pushed it. The 3R is much warmer and darker. And then the 1XLT obviously has that bigger spread to the sound. Man, I'm so excited to have all three of these horns done. And I'm excited for you guys to test them and give me feedback. And I have a very strong feeling that all three of these could last decades without having any issues if you actually heed my warnings and just take care of them. Treat them like a violin. And you'll notice violinists, they don't put a lot of pressure on their instruments. They always set them in the case. They don't put them on a stand. Don't put these on a bell stand where they could get knocked over because you're just asking for trouble. Somebody's dog or cat or kid or random wind will blow it over and I'll hear about it. And that, I hate hearing those stories because they always come back to me because people send the horns back to me to fix them. So if you really take care of it, keep it in the case or keep it in your hand and don't set it even in your lap where you're pushing down on it, because I have people that crush things that way, then you're going to be fine. And I would love to just hear your feedback on these horns. Let me play it in the upper register a little bit. I'm just trying to push the limits and get that edge on the 1LT bell. It really, really projects. I have a microphone on me here, and then I have a second mic that I'm going to attempt to mix with some reverb because the room is kind of dead and the heater's on and I want to take some of that heating sound out, and the neighbors keep making noise. So I'll try to filter that a little bit, but I'll keep all the same settings for all three horns. When you hear it, it'll sound like I'm in a bigger room. But the microphone that's recording that feed and it's going to go through Pro Tools is on the other side of the room about 10 feet away, and it's behind one of my camera lenses, so it's not getting direct blaring feedback, and hopefully that works for today. We'll see how it sounds, but I just want you to know this one is going to light up more than the other two. It does have a lot of energy transfer. I would say number 6 and number 7 are probably the two most efficient out of the three. And number 5 is way more efficient than you've probably ever experienced, unless you own one of our trumpets already, like a Summit or a Muse. So, all right, I weighed everything. We talked about all the features. If you have any questions on these horns, let me know. If you want to own one of these trumpets, give me a call, 303-657-2747. Again, I will make the guarantee that if anything goes wrong with it, if you somehow break it or it just breaks on its own or you freeze it by accident, which please don't, but if you do, we will take that trumpet back and give you full credit towards a new build. And the same thing is true if you just play it for 3 or 6 months or a few years and you decide you want to trade up and it's in perfect condition, the same thing. We'll still take it back and give you that trade credit. We actually do that with all of our customers, but we don't normally have that guarantee of if you break it, we will take it back. With these three, if you break it, I understand these are experimental. I made them and I know that. So that is the extra part of the guarantee on these prototypes. So last thing I want to say, in about a week, yes, I think in about 7 days, we will end our promotion for pre-orders for the G4 series. So I didn't bring a G4 in here. The G4 is the little brother to the G5. It just came out, and the G4 is made with cast. So we use investment casting, using vacuum casting as really high tolerance and high resolution casting for the G4 series. And we have 2 variations of that horn that are available right now. And we're offering up to an $1,800 discount if you get those. I just want to mention it because We just had someone call yesterday and say they're going to fly in from Virginia. The day before, we had somebody fly in from Detroit. Last week, we had people flying in for the same thing, all to get a G4. And I am guilty of not mentioning these things often enough. And then in March, people will say, why didn't you tell me about that? So I'm telling you right now, if you want a G4, now's the time to save on it. And the G4 is considerably less expensive than the new G5 coming out in like steel and titanium and those other materials. So there, I said it. And if you have any questions on anything else, feel free to leave comments on this YouTube video, or catch me on social media or somewhere else, or just schedule an appointment and come visit us in Denver. I will be happy to pick you up and drop you off at the airport as long as the timing works. So if you can plan it, if you contact us and discuss when you're coming, we can give you the best times. And I'd love to host you here in the shop and show you around and train you on all of our technology, including the Venturi gap receiver. And if you need a mouthpiece fitting, we can do that and help you choose a lead pipe and bell. And if you already have a good idea of what you want from one of these horns in this video, then I would say call me sooner than later, because they're going to go quickly and the price is right on these. So thank you for joining me. I will see you next time.